One of the things I'm finding at the moment that is, as a mum, difficult to deal with is how the kids' emotions are manifesting themselves now. One of the things that I am now finding is that my middle son, who's 16, very vulnerable age, absolutely lovely, lovely boy. I can't tell you how lovely, he's such a lovely boy. But he started to, it seems, to really disengage with school. He started turning up late for his morning registration. As you know, it started happening now and then it became every day. Even though I'd get him up, or, well, as you can with the 16-year-old, you can't physically get them up, but shouting at him to get up and trying to encourage him to get up. And he just got later and later, it's got worse and worse. This morning, I would say, was the culmination of how bad it is, because I had to literally push him out of bed, pull all the covers off, physically try and drag him out of bed. It's the last day of term, so it's only half a day, and he still was adamant he wasn't going to go. Finally, he managed to get up, or made himself get up. And I then said, well, I'll drive you there, because we were already late. So we drove there, and I drove him. Normally I would drop him at the back entrance of the school and he'd walk up. But he already said, well, I'm not going to go in, I'm going to go and get my hair cut instead of going to school. I actually went to the front entrance of school, which meant driving into the grounds right up to the door, so that really he had very little option but to actually go in. I mean, he was so angry, got out of the car, didn't speak at all, got out of the car, slammed the door, stomped into school. We were already about 15 minutes late at this point. It's clear he's mixed up, and he's got GCSEs this year, so he's got under a lot of pressure, and I think he seemed okay for the first few months, and I think now it's all catching up and it's manifesting itself in this way, and it's thoroughly despondent with school. And bearing in mind he's only got a few months left, he's seriously disengaging with school. How do I deal with this? I don't know how to deal with this. Well, I've tried to be supportive. The thing is, it's one of those things where he's got no option, he has to do it, otherwise it's going to bring on a whole heap of crap into his life. And he's already got enough to deal with in terms of his GCSEs and his dad leaving and all the stuff that brings. But to then be sort of hounded by the school because of your lateness and getting into trouble and all the stuff that brings, it's the last thing you need. At the moment for him, it's worth it. He's prepared to have all that grief rather than spend 10 minutes every morning with this teacher at registration. And when I dropped him off this morning, I really was on the verge of tears because he was so unhappy. And to see such a lovely boy who is not normally like that, so unhappy, it's really hard as a parent just to see him unhappy. Part of life is having to go through the things that you really hate, and then you get out the other side and you're glad you've done it because you know you can get through it. I know this behaviour is as a direct result of me and his dad splitting up and the behaviour of his dad since, because the things that his dad done have just been so at odds with the man that his dad was before we split up, the father that he was before we split up. And it's so confusing for the children. It's so confusing. We've got one of those wood burning stoves downstairs, and I went to make up the fire, and I opened the door, and in the fire were some books. Now there were books that I was throwing out anyway as part of the clear out that I'm doing, and they hadn't been burned, but they were obviously there to be burned. But one of them had something written on the cover, and it was in my youngest's handwriting, and it was in a big black permanent marker sort of scribbled across the front of this book, and it said, this is shit, F you dad. Yeah. And when you discover things like that, this is kind of an illustration of what's going on in their minds. It makes you realise that there's a lot of stuff that they don't tell you because they're afraid of hurting you. They don't show how they're truly feeling a lot of the time, but it's in there and they're going through turmoil. And I suppose it's just a case of letting them know that you're there for them and that they can talk to you. And that you are, strong enough to hear difficult things. At least I hope so. As I say every time, be kind to yourself, look after yourself, share your feelings because it really does make you feel better. I'd love you to like down below, share, please share and subscribe, and just let me know how you are. Let me know how you're doing. If you're feeling crap, tell me. At least if you can't speak to anyone else, speak to me, because I don't know you, so I'm not going to judge. And I'd just love to hear from you. Anyway, take care. Bye.